this year, Walmart's close to 7% market share in e-commerce. So it's definitely growing fast. And I read a stat recently that said, like, if Walmart held up theoretically these growth rates that it's experiencing, it would actually overtake Amazon in 4 years.
Hello, and welcome to this episode of Whyte Label Advice. I am here. I am Brooke McNeely. I'm the VP of Marketing here at WhyteSpyder. I'm joined by our founder and CGO, Eric Howerton. And we are also here today with one of our solution specialists, Harry Wolansky. So Harry, yes, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself since you've never been on the show before? And you are joining us from the lovely area of New York. Why don't you tell us a little bit about who you are and where you are from?
Yeah, most certainly. So my name's Harry Wolansky. I've been with WhyteSpyder coming up on 10 months now. Formerly worked at Walmart.com back when it was Jet.com was on the sporting goods team. Essentially, my role there was to manage a bunch of vendors and help them grow on the Walmart platform. So funny enough, a lot of the vendors that I worked with used WhyteSpyder and had worked with WhyteSpyder. So I was very familiar with the company before ending up here. So super glad to be on the podcast. And I'm actually in New Jersey, not New York. I'm a diehard Jersey guy.
I knew Corey. I had to mail this thing to Corey, so I knew his address. I knew he was in Brooklyn, and I knew Corey mailed the video kit to you, and I didn't get to see where the address was. So I knew it was on the East Coast. It's somewhere, but yes, that's awesome. And so recently, Harry, you were invited to talk at a show. You're going to be on a panel at one of the upcoming trade shows. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so Prosper Show is in Las Vegas. It's one of the largest.
What'd you call it? What show did you call it, Harry?
It's the Prosper Show.
Prosper, Prosper, right?
Yes.
Okay, got you. Go ahead.
Prosper Show is one of the largest shows for Amazon sellers. At the show, there will be thousands of Amazon sellers as well as agencies, software partners, e-commerce legal firms, aggregators, which are buying up a lot of the Amazon brands. And it's really a show where sellers can go and learn kind of some of the solutions that are out there to grow on Amazon and also have the experience to meet other sellers. But I think what's interesting is because they have the Walmart panel, it shows that, not only Amazon sellers, but the organizers of the event are recognizing that there's a huge opportunity off Amazon, and diversifying your revenue is something that I think is going to be a big theme this year. That's
exciting. So they who is the audience? It's a bunch of sellers. They're on Amazon or wanting to get on Amazon, and then this panel that you're on is kind of trying to switch them over into kind of learning more about the Walmart marketplace. I mean, the title of it is "Sell or Not to Sell on Walmart Marketplace." So are these people interested in Walmart, or is it just the organizers that are like, hey, this is also really cool?
Yeah, so the audience, interestingly enough, 78% of the Amazon sellers that are attending or that attended last year actually do $1 million or more annually on Amazon. So a lot of the audience there are established Amazon sellers. I think they have this Walmart panel this year to kind of showcase the opportunity on Walmart, and the question of whether or not to sell is really could be reworded as whether or not to invest your time to get started on Walmart. Because so much traffic and so much sales are concentrated on Amazon, I think a lot of sellers on Amazon are kind of juggling that question of if Walmart's even worth the investment.
So that's the big question. Is Walmart worth the investment?
That is a great question.
Yeah, and I'm happy to answer that.
Yeah, that is, yeah. In your opinion, we are, because we are the Walmart experts.
For sure. So I think it's funny because my answer has really changed over time. Back when it was Jet.com in 2018, I think a lot of the messaging towards brands was trying to convince them to join the Walmart marketplace when we looked at things like traffic and how many customers were coming to shop on Walmart. But now for this audience, I think it's pretty different. It's really, I think the three main things are diversifying your revenue from Amazon. So not being totally concentrated on Amazon and putting all your eggs in one basket. I think that's the main thing. The second thing is for all the private label sellers who have their own brand, it's really important from a brand protection standpoint to get listed on Walmart, especially when we look at things like content ranking issues, right? So that's a huge issue on Walmart right now with sellers and brands that are late to the game. If someone already listed your brand on Walmart, there's a good chance you're going to have to fight to get that content ranking back so that you can make changes to your own brand. So those are the two things. And then I think the third is that there's just less competition on Walmart. So we're looking at around 130,000 sellers compared to over 1.5 million on Amazon. So just hearing that, you can imagine how much more opportunity there is from a competition standpoint. On Walmart, there's a huge opportunity there. And I think a big part of that is that it's not flooded with Chinese sellers. So lately, some of the categories on Amazon look like Alibaba in terms of how many Chinese sellers are listing products on Amazon. So one thing that, is I would say to a private label brand thinking about joining Walmart is that those are the three factors I would look at.
So I got a quick question. I hear often about the Amazon sellers diversifying their portfolio, but aren't they already doing that? I mean, most of these sellers, are they just only like literally on Amazon and nowhere else? Like they're not using Etsy or eBay or anything like that, or their own D2Cs, and they're just now exploring another retailer?
Yeah, so I would say I bet a lot of them prefer to have a strong D2C presence, especially when you're thinking about referral fees and costs associated with that. It's just more profitable to own your customer. But I think the reality is that a lot of the brands that we've spoken with have over 90% of their sales concentrated on Amazon. And the problem with that is when you're thinking about customers from a lifetime value perspective, it's tough when you don't have them in your domain to be able to send emails to and send updates about your brand. Amazon really owns the customer. So this is a huge initiative for private label brands, is to diversify not only to places like Walmart and other marketplaces, but to really invest in D2C so that they can own their customer.
That's really cool.
Yeah. So what do you think, Harry? I mean, like, what do you think these sellers are looking for with Walmart? So like, let's say I have, like you said, 95% of my sales coming from Amazon. What are they hoping that a percentage of their sales will start coming from Walmart? I mean, how does that diversification look like?
I think they're hoping for as much as possible on Walmart. The reality is that it varies by category. So some private label sellers can come over to Walmart Marketplace and see 10% of sales relative to their Amazon business. So if you're running $1 million business on Amazon, there's $100,000 on the table on Walmart. But I think it really varies by category. So for instance, home, office, and baby tend to be categories that really transfer over well to Walmart. Whereas certain categories like, supplements and vitamins, I've seen that have a hard time.
That's interesting. I would think that supplements and vitamins would have a better transition in Walmart, or a little bit
with the less competition, or
well, just because you think about supplements. I mean, I would think of going to a Walmart before I would ever go buy anything on Amazon from supplements and vitamins. Yeah. I mean, just from a trustworthy standpoint. I mean, Walmart seems to be more of the the grocer, over the counter type of company to me, at least. But I don't know.
We are in Walmart country.
Yeah, but that's true.
You can't swing a stick without hitting a Walmart.
Yeah, that's true. That's probably why I do that.
Yeah, we love Walmart.
We do love Walmart.
I know. What is another one of the questions that we saw is, what is the difference between WFS and FBA?
Yeah, so Walmart Fulfillment Services is basically the equivalent of FBA in terms of, you send your items to Walmart, they'll pick, pack, and ship it for you. There are some other similarities, like when you send to WFS, you do get 2-day shipping coverage across the U.S., which is huge from a conversion standpoint because customers want their products super fast these days. Another similarity is that you get the fulfilled by Walmart tag. So, you normally see on Amazon, it could be sold by a private label seller, but fulfilled by Amazon, which shows that it's in that FBA network. I would say the difference is that Walmart sellers need to apply to use WFS. So it's kind of free reign on Amazon. If you have an account, you can get involved in FBA, whereas on Walmart, you do have to apply to get accepted. We haven't seen really many brands have trouble with getting accepted into WFS, but Walmart does take that extra step involved in the process. The other thing is that Amazon's FBA presence is much larger. So I would expect that as more sellers get started on Walmart, you're going to start to see capacity constraints. But right now, I think Walmart only has like 20 fulfillment centers that are involved with WFS. So
how many fulfillment centers does Amazon have? Do you know?
Yeah, Amazon has over 100.
Okay.
For FBA. And it's interesting because Walmart has, I believe, over 160 distribution centers, but those are probably more focused on 1P and brick and mortar. But we've seen, new WFS ship nodes pop up. So I think they're trying to expand that capability to get more coverage. But right now, we haven't heard of any brands having any capacity constraints. So as much as you want to send in, usually is okay with WFS.
And I mean, just from my personal experience, at least watching and working with Walmart, this whole WFS is really. It just kind of appeared on the radar one day, and it's just been accelerating since. They really came out pretty strong with WFS, and it seems like they keep accelerating a lot of their programs. Do you agree with that, Harry?
Yeah, definitely. I think one difference, too, to call out that's pretty interesting is that Amazon has an MCF program, which is called multi-channel fulfillment, where they'll actually fulfill your Shopify orders, your Wix, whatever storefront you're using for D2C. And they'll actually do that so that you can send your inventory in and not have to ship if you get an order through your own website. What's interesting about Walmart is that they're only allowing this for Walmart orders. So one thing, and this is important for brands to know who start selling on Walmart, is that you can't leverage the MCF program with Amazon to ship for your Walmart orders. And it's actually a huge compliance thing that Walmart is enforcing. So in the case that, if a brand were to send inventory in an Amazon box to a Walmart customer, they could risk getting terminated or suspended from Walmart.
Wow.
Makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. Come on, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you think having that WFS, using that, does that help you in any way in like a search grid or like online? Like, do you get any perks in search rank on that, or do you know?
Yeah, so we've really seen a strong uptick in sales for all of our clients that have used it. What I would say is, just similar to Amazon, if you're fulfilling through their network through FBA, you'll get buy box dominance is what they're referring to it as. So you have a better chance of winning the buy box. You'll get a stronger organic search rank position when you're running through WFS. I think on Walmart's site, they said on average like a 50% increase in sales. That does sound a bit high, but maybe they're seeing something that we're not. But I would say you can definitely expect an uptick in sales when you convert to WFS.
Are you seeing a lot of 1P brands? Right. I would think that as a 1P brand, I've been doing business with Walmart, brick and mortar, omnichannel, but then I have an expanded catalog that, it would seem probably a good move to get in third parties with that expanded assortment and then use WFS. Are you seeing that?
Yeah, we're definitely seeing that. So some of the biggest brands in the Walmart stores are getting 3P accounts. And a lot of the times it's because the merchants are asking for it. So some of those legacy items that maybe have been on replenishment, funneling through the DSV or the 1P fulfillment network, they're actually transferring those over to 3P. And I think the goal is eventually to get those into WFS and start building that up, because it's really kind of following Amazon's playbook of building up the marketplace side of the business, which really is more profitable for Walmart in the long run in terms of online fulfillment.
So are you saying like historically, if you're a 1P or first party supplier to Walmart, which for the audience just basically represents that Walmart inventories your products, right? Whether it's in fulfillment center or on brick and mortar. And correct me if I'm wrong, Harry, if I'm wrong on these definitions, but then DSV is drop ship vendor. So historically, a 1P would increase their assortment with Walmart, but do DSV directly with Walmart, right? But you're saying that now that WFS, Walmart Fulfillment Services, is available, that a lot of these 1Ps will remove that catalog from a 1P designation as a DSV and then open up their 3P account for a WFS.
That's a lot of acronyms.
It's a lot of, I just acronym.
You just acronymed out of that.
Yeah, there's a bit too many right now. But essentially, I think we're just starting to see that shift, especially for new items. So for some of these big brands that, you know, have new items coming out, some of the merchants just want them to open up a 3P account. And there's just it's a whole different world, 1P and 3P. You know, when we're talking about Prosper, we're talking, you know, 100% about 3P accounts, marketplace accounts. But that's a great point, Eric, to bring up, is that a lot of these big household name brands that are in the Walmart stores are setting up 3P accounts at Walmart's command. So I think it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. But I definitely think marketplace is a priority for them.
So, I mean, as a 1P brand, the benefit of going 3P with WFS is, I mean, it seems like you have a little bit more control, maybe some more tools, more flexibility, but at the same time, probably a little bit more opportunity to, like you were talking about, rank a little bit better in organic positions versus if you're a 1P at DSV, then you have a 3P competitor that has WFS. I mean, your 1P DSV could be getting buried.
You were acronyming again.
I mean, dude,
you were on an acronym roll.
I'm trying to sound really smart during this podcast because Harry's sounding too smart.
Harry's sounding really smart.
Yeah, he is sounding really great, but I don't like that. I'm being really competitive.
You're like, I'm gonna out acronym him.
I'm like a 1P DSV going after a 3P WFS.
Yeah.
Right now.
How does it make you feel, Harry?
Just anecdotally speaking, you know, back when we had like some unprofitable DSV arrangements, because DSV, you provide your cost to Walmart, right? So if you're selling them, you know, whatever category you're in, you would provide them the cost and they set the price, right? When you looked at contribution profit from the Walmart side, it really always made sense to have them switch over to marketplace, because these referral fees in most categories are 15%. And when Walmart's covering the shipping and kind of taking everything in from that DSV relationship, sometimes it doesn't make sense from Walmart's perspective to have you in that network. So I think that's why we're starting to see a lot of things transfer over to 3P.
That's really cool. All right. And one of the last questions here: Where will Walmart Marketplace be in 3 to 5 years? What is your prediction?
Yeah, that's.
If you had a crystal ball,
you know,
I have the answer. Just go ahead, Harry. But I do have the answer. Go ahead.
You first, Harry.
So in 2018, when we were at Walmart, you know, the DCP folks, when we were there, I think we represented something around 3% of online retail, and we were actually behind eBay and Apple in terms of market share. This year, Walmart's close to 7%. Market share in e-commerce. So it's definitely growing fast. And I read a stat recently that said, like, if Walmart held up theoretically these growth rates that it's experiencing, it would actually overtake Amazon in 4 years. I don't think that's going to happen. I still think Amazon's going to be the dominant player here, but it should be interesting a few years from now to see which marketplaces really focus on customer experience over breadth of assortment. So one thing that's definitely been frustrating for Amazon consumers is just how flooded the marketplace is right now. And I know I mentioned it before, but there's a lot of international sellers that are throwing up listings every day. And on Amazon, one thing that you definitely see a lot more of is black hat tactics to get to the first page. So whether that's the person with the deepest pockets ready to spend on advertising or kind of review manipulation, it's becoming like we're definitely hearing a lot more about that. Whereas Walmart's trust and safety is pretty strict, and it actually creates for a better experience for the customers. So I'd be interested to see how that plays out. But I think one thing to keep an eye on is Walmart Plus. They rolled that out, and it's doing quite well. I think they have over 11 million members. But 78% of those members, I believe it's 78%. I know it's over 70% of those Walmart Plus members are actually also Amazon Prime members. So strong overlap there. But, I think if Walmart were to hit it home and overtake Amazon, it would probably be in the grocery category. So those are just my thoughts, just thinking out loud here.
All right, Eric.
Yes, I got some.
What are your
questions.
predictions?
You end these podcasts way too early. Okay. I'm sorry. I went off on something else.
You went off on something. You're like, no.
Yeah,
I wanted to know your answer. Or did you have a question for Harry?
I didn't want to. I'm not gonna. I decided not to give my answer today.
Oh, you're gonna keep it. You're gonna keep your crystal ball answer.
I'm gonna keep
you didn't
it.
have a.
Might affect the stock price of negatively for Amazon,
yeah, but for Walmart,
but for Walmart, it boosts it up. I don't want to distort the markets.
All right.
But I do have a question, Harry. Do you see another benefit? I can't help but think, but another benefit for a seller just to get on Walmart as a 3P is just the opportunity. It just seems so obvious to me that there's an opportunity for longer shelf life or I guess extension of their products. The opportunity for an item to get in store, then to become part of the pickup, right, and all the other things that Walmart has going on omnichannel. Is that a big point for some of these sellers, or for a lot of the sellers, or are sellers on Amazon even thinking about that extension that Walmart has from a retailer standpoint?
Yeah, I think the private label sellers that have really strong differentiation. So whether that be through some sort of patent or a really unique product, I would say that's probably on their radar. For a lot of other private label sellers, it's probably not. But Walmart did just have its open call for marketplace sellers to submit items to be considered for the stores. And I think it's always worth a shot if you have good volume online, because if you go to a merchant and you were to have a conversation with them, they'll likely see how you're performing online before considering you for the store mod. That is the holy grail if you get in the stores. That's a significant growth lever for your business. But I would say it's probably going to be really relevant for those private label sellers on Amazon that have established a lot of moat on Amazon, but also on Walmart, and can really speak to that if they were to get that meeting with a merchant.
Yeah, and I think that, so when you brought up open call, we've heard of open calls before in the past. Walmart's been having these for quite some time. But I seem to remember it is mostly for USA made, kind of more just different reasons why they have open call, small businesses, and all that. But so are you saying, is this a new thing where it's like opening up now to another segment, I guess, that they're targeting for open call or 3P sellers? Is that a new target, or is that something that's been going on for a while?
Yeah, I believe it's relatively new. I think they rolled it out last year, but the communication I've seen is that any 3P marketplace seller is able to submit their items for consideration. I'm not sure which team at Walmart is managing that review, but again, I think it's really going to be a matter of looking at performance on Walmart. And I know if I had a private label brand on Walmart, I would certainly want it to grow as much as possible online before getting that meeting with a merchant, so I can kind of speak to the brand really resonating with Walmart customers.
Yeah, and if I was a seller on Walmart too, I would want to, like you mentioned, proof in the data, right, your sales on Walmart.com. But when do you think is a good time to trigger maybe a reach out to a merchant to kind of get on the radar? Like, hey, just started selling at Walmart about 6 months ago. I've been an Amazon seller for 10 years. I've been doing XYZ at Amazon, having some pretty good success at Walmart.com. You should consider this for store placement. Do you have any advice there? Like, what's a good trigger point from your perspective?
Yeah, I would say if you're going to reach out, definitely make sure that your content quality scores are buttoned up and you're at least 95% content health scores. Get the pro seller badge. So that means, staying in stock, having reviews on your products, and getting that listing quality score as high as possible. Because if you're reaching out before checking those boxes, I'm sure the merchant's kind of just going to go back and point at those and be like, hey, get that business in order before even thinking about the stores.
Yeah, that's really good advice.
Well, and I think one more thing on that. Sorry,
one more thing.
Because I think that there's a hard transition. I mean, honestly, let's take .com out of the equation. In the Walmart geography here, the business of store-based business and how you approach a merchant or Walmart about selling your products within their stores has been a pretty sophisticated business and sales strategy, right? You just don't walk into a Walmart, home office and meet with a merchant and say, hey, I got an idea. You have to really come with your ducks in a row, right? Because that's a pretty significant meeting. I've as I've talked through Harry with third party sellers in the past that have had really good Amazon businesses, and they're excited to get into Walmart because they have a dream to see their products in every Walmart store across the nation. I don't think that they're really realizing it's really a whole different animal.
Next level.
It's a next level, but it's just a lot different than .com. Those merchants, you have limited aisles, limited shelf space. It's a big risk from Walmart to take on to do that. And I think that, I think it's good for sellers to know as they look at that higher ceiling at Walmart for the store, but just recognize what we were just talking about. When that indicator comes, like Harry was saying, you've got all these boxes checked, ready to take it to a merchant. But also, before you take it to the merchant, you really need to do some consultation about how to work with store merchants, about the store business, because it's a whole different ball game. And there's actually a lot of providers around Northwest Arkansas, Walmart headquarter area, when it comes to store-based stuff. So I think that that's a good piece of advice, if you were asking me.
It's amazing advice.
Thank you so much, Brooke.
No problem.
I really appreciate that. Harry, did you think that was a great advice? Because I only care about your opinion, really.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So this Prosper show, Harry, is it going to be in person? Are you going to you guys get to go there and do it all in person, or is it another virtual event?
Yeah, so it's in person. So it's at Mandalay Bay in Las Vegas. And yeah, I'll be speaking on a panel, and hopefully we'll get a good attendance for the Walmart panel. I've spoken to a few sellers already who said that they'll be stopping by to kind of hear about what's required to get listed on Walmart, and what's required to sell in WFS. So really excited to share all the opportunities about Walmart with all these sellers.
That's awesome. Good. Well, have fun, Harry.
Yeah, go there representing well, Harry.
Yep. Did you have we mailed you some swag? Does he have the hat? Does he have a hat?
Why would you bring it up on a recorded podcast?
We got to get you some swag. We'll get you some swag, Harry. We're you're sporting the hat right now.
I am, but
it looks amazing.
I have a cap.
Yeah, I haven't had a hat yet. Definitely
Harry
gotta get a hat.
Harry doesn't have anything, Brooke. He's empty-handed right now. But I'll send you.
We're gonna make sure you get
a
something,
gift
Harry.
box.
It's gonna be great.
Hey, when you flying out, Harry?
Saturday.
So why don't you stop and you just stop in X and A, and then we'll get you everything you need, and then you can fly to Vegas.
Yeah, we could do that.
Yeah. No, we'll figure something out. All right. Well, thank you guys, and thank you, Harry. We really appreciate it, and we'll talk to you everybody soon.
All right. Thanks, Harry.
Thanks.
Bye,
man. Be good.